It's Wednesday, April 13th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and we have the latest local news for you today, as well as high school sports and a look at the forecast with Rob Adams. And later in the show, if you think your commute is long now, you'll be interested in this week's Talking Transportation. Connecticut residents have been commuting on state and local roads for centuries, and tolls date back longer than you might think. Jim Cameron takes us on a trip through the history of the Connecticut commute on this week's edition of Talking Transportation. But first, on to today's news. According to the Associated Press, a Miami-Dade County official says a 23-year-old woman was drunk when she drove the wrong way on Interstate 95 last year, killing herself and 4 others, including 2 Bridgeport residents. Miami-Dade County Medical Examiner Director of Operations Darren Cabrera tells the South Florida Sun-Sentinel that Alexandra Leffler of San Francisco had a blood alcohol content that was more than double Florida's legal limit when, on December 30th, she drove the wrong way for about a dozen miles before colliding with 3 sedans. Leffler died in the crash, as did 4 family members who had gathered for the holidays. 47-year-old Miguel Gil of Cooper City, 71-year-old Gisela Margarita Aqui Hernandez of Venezuela, and 52-year-old Jose Martin Labrador and 48-year-old Gisela Gil Agui, both of Bridgeport. Labrador was the acting director of education technology at Housatonic Community College, and Gil Agui was a communications professor at Fairfield University. And Laurelton Hall students were sent home early Tuesday after being exposed to pepper spray. At about 10:15 in the morning, Milford Fire Dispatch received a 911 call reporting the release of an unknown substance in the school lobby. About 30 to 40 students were initially exposed due to their close proximity during a change of classes, according to Battalion Fire Chief Anthony Fabrizi. Fabrizi said many of the students began to experience respiratory irritation and difficulty breathing. Students and staff evacuated the building, relocating to the school's gymnasium. Firefighter, EMT, and paramedic units were dispatched to the scene, and students and staffs were evaluated and triaged by fire department personnel. Many students were treated on the scene by fire department paramedics, and many of those students were required to shower and change clothing in order to minimize their exposure. 10 students were transported to local hospitals, according to Fabrizi, and the affected building was ventilated and metered as a precaution by personnel. Milford police were on the scene to investigate and determine that the product released was in fact pepper spray. The motive and the person responsible are currently under investigation. You can get updates at milfordmirror.com. A Norwalk man was arrested for driving under the influence and having a weapon in his car when New Canaan police stopped him on Tuesday. A New Canaan police officer on patrol observed a vehicle traveling south on New Norwalk Road cross over the double yellow line. This happened at about 12:30 in the morning. Upon speaking with the operator, 20-year-old James Lucchese of Norwalk, he stated that he was texting while driving, which had caused his erratic operation. The officer detected an odor of alcohol emitting from his breath, and he later failed field sobriety tests. A subsequent search of Lucchese's vehicle resulted in the discovery of a Winchester fixed blade knife with a blade length of about 4 7/8 inches. Charged with texting while driving, driving under the influence, and possessing weapons in a motor vehicle, he was released on a $500 bond and set to appear in court on April 26th. 2 abandoned Stratford buildings which caught fire early Sunday evening will have to be torn down, according to the town's fire marshal. Fire Marshal Brian Lampart said that the 2-story empty buildings off Frog Pond Lane that sustained significant damage in a Sunday fire were damaged beyond repair and will most likely have to be torn down to prevent any further entry. Firefighters responded to the blaze at about 5:25 in the evening. The buildings are located near the former Raymark ball field. The fire was originally called in as a brush fire. 5 engine companies and 1 ladder truck worked for several hours to extinguish the fire that was on a property that has been neglected for many years. Lampart said the property has been a concern for the town because of many years of asbestos-type dust that has been disposed of by the Raymark Corporation that had previously managed the site. Lampart noted that the fire area was not in the Raymark waste site and was not of any concern to neighboring homes. Much more on that story at StratfordStar.com. And the 8-year-old juvenile detention center in Bridgeport would be closed under Governor Daniel Malloy's new fiscal initiative, which would slash state agencies across the board and add $352 million in cuts above and beyond last week's legislative budget. Hearst, Connecticut media reports that the proposal is aimed at saving more than $11 million. It would eliminate 130 staff from the $40 million building, which also houses educational and courtroom facilities. Those in detention would be transferred to a similar facility in Hartford that, according to a fiscal analysis, has enough capacity for the additional detainees. As part of the goal to reduce spending by $922 million next year, Governor Daniel Malloy would take away about $100 million from towns and cities and $53 million from the state's cost-sharing formula for local education, forcing some affluent towns to pay more for their public schools. He would retain transportation funding, which the governor said is crucial to supporting business growth. And according to WFSB, New Haven school officials sent home a letter with students earlier this week after bed bugs were discovered at James Hillhouse High School. In the letter to parents, officials said the case at Hillhouse did appear to be isolated, and protocols to address the issue were immediately put into action. Both the Board of Education and New Haven Department of Health were made aware of the discovery and are working with other city departments to treat the school. School officials said staff trained in handling the matters began remediating the issue as soon as possible. In addition, they will also assist impacted homes with addressing any infestations. Officials did say they believed the incident remained isolated and there was no risk to the larger student or staff population. But we're going to throw it over to Rob Adams now for the latest forecast. Rob?
All right, Kate, good morning, everyone. A sunny day, high near 55. A partly cloudy night with a low around 35 as we head into Thursday. A sunny day, high near 58, so you're going to like the sound of that. Now, the wind chill values will be a little bit lower, 30 to 40, though. Not really too bad early, but as A.J. Simonowski can tell you, and certainly Frank Granito as well, anybody who was outside at Tiger Hollow last night, those temperatures actually were in the 40s, but wind chills thrown in. It was a cold night for those guys out at the field out in Ridgefield last night. Friday, we've got a sunny day. Thursday night, I should tell you first, clear and a low 34, but Friday, sunny and 61. Do your happy dance. We head into Saturday, sunny and 63, and Sunday, I bring you the good news, sunny and 70. 73 for Monday, 64 for Tuesday. So, I'm all about the good news today. Around the region, Westport, you have 50, Stamford, 47. Right here in Shelton, 49 degrees. We're getting there, Kate.
Yeah, it sounds good to me, Rob. All right, well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Donald Dang takes a look back on this day in history. Rob has the latest sports news, and we have some more headlines coming up after this.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or go to coastalorthoexpress.com. That's coastalorthoexpress.com. Like them on Facebook.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well. Until April 30th, choose $150 cash for a Smeg toaster when you open a My Bankwell Choice checking account with a minimum of $2,000.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with the Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday, right here on the HAN Network.
Today's coffee break is brought to you by Stork Club Child Care and Development Centers, with 6 locations in Connecticut, including in Orange. The Stork Club offers age-appropriate programs for children 6 weeks to 8 years old. Stork Club locations offer a nursery school with a certified teacher, before and after school programs with transportation provided, and child and parent consultations. At the Stork Club, you can take advantage of their open door policy. Contact the Orange location, located at 801 Baldwin Road, at 203-891-0599. We're back on this Wednesday edition of your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and it's time to throw it over to Donald Eng to take a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, thanks, Kate. It is April 13th, and noteworthy on this day, we go first to 1742. George Friedrich Handel's oratorio, Messiah, makes its world premiere in Dublin, Ireland. After a modest opening, it would gradually gain popularity, eventually becoming one of the most frequently performed choral works in Western music. The custom of standing for the Hallelujah chorus originates from the belief that at the London premiere, King George II stood, which would have obligated everyone else in the theater to do so also. 1902, James C. Penney opens his first store in Kemmerer, Wyoming. In 1898, Penney had begun working for a small chain of stores in the West called the Golden Rule Stores. The owners, Guy Johnson and Thomas Callahan, offered him 1/3 partnership in a new store that Penney would open. He invested $2,000 and moved to Kemmerer. He participated in opening 2 more stores, and when Callahan and Johnson dissolved their partnership, Penney would purchase full interest in all of the stores. To 1943, the Jefferson Memorial, dedicated in Washington, D.C. on the 200th anniversary of President Thomas Jefferson's birth. The American Institute of Architecture lists it as number 4 on the list of America's favorite architecture. Somewhat less successful also on this day, but in 1976, the U.S. Treasury reintroduces the $2 bill as a Federal Reserve note with Jefferson's picture on it on his 233rd birthday. The only list the $2 bill makes is the unnecessary currency one. And finally, now we go to 1997 for this.
1997, in only his 3rd Masters appearance, 21-year-old Tiger Woods redefined history at Augusta National.
There it is, a win for the ages.
His first Masters victory set 20 records and tied 6 others. Most notable, the 12-stroke margin of victory, tying a 127-year-old major championship record.
That was Tiger Woods becoming the youngest golfer ever to win the Masters tournament. He would win 13 more majors over the course of the next decade, the most successful run of major tournament wins in golf history. That is your look back in history for today, April 13th, and I am Donald Eng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, getting back to a little more news today, Ridgefield First Selectman Rudy Marconi said there is enforcement needed at the handicap spots located at Ridgefield High School's Tiger Hollow Stadium. Marconi said there will be enforcement of that handicap parking currently located in front of the pavilion at Ridgefield's Tiger Hollow, and he said if you park there in the future, you will run the risk of being towed at owner expense. The town is launching the crackdown on non-handicapped people parking in the spaces at Tiger Hollow because they are so regularly misused after years of lax enforcement. Marconi said there's nowhere for handicapped people to park. It's gotten so abused that everyone is parking there completely ignoring the signs. But now it is time to throw it over to Rob Adams, who was at Tiger Hollow Stadium yesterday.
Hello, friends. I just had to do that Jim Nance little Masters talk. Yes, we were. We were out there yesterday, Kate. Once again, hello, friends. The Greenwich Ridgefield boys lacrosse game, as Kate alluded to, that was expected to be a really good early season FCAC matchup. Was it? Let's take a look at the highlights from last night. Beautiful weather for our boys lacrosse for a Tuesday afternoon on the HAN Network. Good afternoon, everyone. With Frank Granito and AJ Simonowski, I'm Rob Adams. Rain early April. 2 flags fly. And they score to get things started at 7:28. It's 1-0. He tries to make a move, gets around the man, tries for a ground ball, and he scores. That's one way to get it going. Greenwich cuts the lead in half. It's 2-1. So 3-1 the score now, and Ridgefield comes away with the loose ball off the face-off, and Levesque scores 4-1.
Frank, what was that you were saying about individual efforts?
Oh, just in a huge turn of events right now.
To the far side. Peter Dirth gets in close. Another one.
Footballs, for that matter, now that you have Swindell kicking.
And look at this goal from Greenwich to get it to 6-3. The nifty wraparound as he fell.
Big stop by Cooper. Good move by Dirth in the slot there. The hesitation. Now he cuts right in.
And a little tic-tac-toe, and the answer, 7-3.
It was the play before. He had the hesitation that bought him a little time. Then he came up strong with the shot.
This was a very low-scoring game early on before Ridgefield erupted for a bunch of goals, and they've got another one. Guess who? Dirth does it again. Sands getting in close, and they score again. Sands behind the cage. 10-7 game, half minute to go. Ball loose, heading toward the back of the football end zone. It's out. Celebration beginning for Ridgefield. So in the end, Peter Dirth put on a show to the tune of 5 goals as the Tigers shut down the Cardinals 10-7. Skylar Blair and Chase Levesque scored twice. Mark Gallioni added a single tally as Ridgefield improves to 2-0 on the season. Greenwich tried to make a furious comeback but never got closer than 3 goals back. Jack O'Connor and Michael Sands each had 2 for Big Red in the loss. On the scoreboard, elsewhere in boys lacrosse, King and Low Haywood Thomas blasting West Hill 13-0. Darien by 10 over Fairfield Ludlow. A big win for Staples all over Trinity Catholic. Trumbull gets by Fairfield Ward by 2. Jared Newell scored 5 goals and had 2 assists. St. Joe's over Norwalk 9-7. Peter Swindell had a hat trick and an assist. New Canaan over Wilton 11-2. Over to girls lacrosse now. Norwalk sneaks by St. Joseph. Wilton 15, West Hill nothing. Catherine Granito had a hat trick and 3 assists. New Canaan over Greenwich by 4. Overtime for Staples to fall to Ludlow, and Ridgefield all over McMahon. To boys tennis, Darien, a 7-0 win over Danbury. Girls golf at Richter Park, it was Danbury beating Staples. And lastly, in boys volleyball, Shelton got by Greenwich. From high school football, Darien has been chosen recently out of 15,000 high school football programs by USA Today for its 2015 National Super 25 Computer Rankings. In fact, the Blue Wave come in at 25th in the country for its championship season. The Wave won both the FCAC and Class XXL titles. Katy, Texas, however, was named best team in the nation. Really not a surprise. They have such great football down there in Texas. But that's a huge achievement for the Blue Wave, and they were the highest ranked team, in fact, the only ranked team in New England. On the schedule, plenty of baseball today, including a little tilt down at Staples High School, Staples and Stamford. We will have it for you here on the HAN Network. I'll have the call for you at 4 o'clock. Elsewhere, Darien hosting Fairfield Ludlow, Danbury at Norwalk, Greenwich visits West Hill, St. Joseph home for Trumbull in an all-Trumbull showdown. It's Brian McMahon at New Canaan, Fairfield Ward hosting Trinity Catholic, and Bridgeport Central travels down to Wilton. From softball, New Canaan is at McMahon, Danbury hosting Norwalk, West Hill at Greenwich, Staples at Stamford, Darien at Ludlow, Ward at Trinity Catholic, Immaculate taking on Ridgefield, Trumbull hosting St. Joseph, and Wilton is at Bridgeport Central. Also, boys lacrosse, one game. Brian McMahon takes on Weston tonight. Darien is at Notre Dame Academy in Massachusetts in girls lacrosse, and Trumbull is at Fairfield Ward. You've got boys tennis and girls tennis also on the docket today, so plenty going on. Nutmeg Sports at 2, and of course, baseball at 4 o'clock from Staples High School. But with sports, I'm Rob Adams. Kate, back over to you.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. Well, getting back to a little more news today, nearly 100 Shelton residents attended Tuesday night's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for a decision on the proposal for 18 condos to be built at 405 Long Hill Avenue. The majority of those residents left disappointed and frustrated as the commissioners ruled that the public portion be continued to their May 10th meeting due to new data being presented by the developers. Chairman of the Board of Planning and Zoning, Ruth Parkins, read a letter written by attorney Alan Tima requesting that the meeting's public portion be continued to next month because the site's attorney, Dominic Thomas, announced that he had submitted a traffic analysis as well as a revised plan. Attorney Thomas declined the opportunity to present the revised site plan to avoid having to present it multiple times. You can get a lot more on that story at sheltonherald.com. And in other news today, just who will renovate and redevelop Stratford's American Festival Shakespeare Theater is still a question as the Stratford Town Council voted Monday to end their negotiations with the Stratford Stage Group. Councilors voted 8-2 during Monday's lengthy meeting to end talks with SSG, the group it had been negotiating with for more than a year. Residents opposed to the plan applauded the council's action. The vote came after the council heard from SSG that the group would be willing to give up its plans to build an inn on the Shakespeare Theater property, as well as its plans to work on renovation at the Nikolai Benjamin House, often called the White House, located on the property. However, SSG, through its attorney Barry Knott, wanted a right of first refusal if someone approached the town about developing any commercial endeavor on the property. It also wanted a right of first refusal if anyone asked to use the White House if the Mighty Quinn Foundation chose to leave the building. Council Chairman Beth DuPont stepped down as chairman briefly to make a motion saying it was time to conclude those negotiations since they have not come to fruition and because SSG had not shown that they can credibly run the theater. A lot more on that story at StratfordStar.com. And finally, some exciting news. World of Beer Inc. will open a new tavern in Milford on April 25th in the Connecticut Post Mall. The tavern touts more than 500 bottles, 60 rotating taps, a cask engine, and an infusion tower, and there are currently more than 75 of the franchises in 21 states. World of Beer Milford will employ about 100 people, according to the business press release. The 5,000 square foot tavern will also have an 800 square foot outdoor patio. Well, we are going to step out for a break now, and when we come back, it's time to talk transportation with Jim Cameron, coming up on your coffee break after this. For more than 50 years, SSS has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities with locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford. SSS will get the job done fast, big or small. At SSS, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at SSSclean.com or 203-847-8000.
Join the HAN Network and Make-A-Wish Connecticut to help make travel wishes come true for local kids with life-threatening medical conditions. Donate your unused airline miles to the HAN Network Wishes in Flight campaign. Over 70% of wishes granted involve travel, and your unused airline miles can help make kids' dreams become a reality. Plus, once you donate your miles to Make-A-Wish, they will never expire. Donate your unused miles and help the HAN Network share the power of a wish.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
For over 25 years, Mike Cizik Painting and Wallpapering has been the name to know for residential and commercial properties in Fairfield County. He uses only the top brands, including Benjamin Moore, for impeccable preparation and lasting quality. Call Mike now and receive $500 off any job over $7,000. Mike is currently accepting reservations for spring, so call him today at 203-770-8869 or 203-972-3310. For your custom painting, finishing, and staining needs, it's Mike Cizik.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica at HAN.network.
Whether you ride the rails or roadways, your daily commute is nothing new. I'm Jim Cameron for Talking Transportation, commentary and analysis on getting around in Connecticut. Generations of Connecticut residents before you have also struggled to get to their jobs. As early as 1699, roads had been laid out on routes still used today. But where today those roads are lined with trees, by the mid-1700s, most of southern Fairfield County had been cleared of all trees to allow for farming. In the 1770s, the maintenance of the country road, now known as Old Kings Highway, was the responsibility of locals. By law, every able-bodied man and beast could be enlisted for 2 days each year to keep the roads in good shape. But traffic then consisted mostly of farm carts, horses, and pedestrians. By the end of the 18th century, it was clear that we needed more roads, and the state authorized more than 100 privately funded toll roads to be built. The deal was that after building the road and charging tolls, once investors had recouped their costs plus 12% annual interest, the roads would revert to state control. Of the 121 toll road franchises authorized by the legislature, not one of them ever met that goal. One of the first such roads was the original Connecticut Turnpike, now Route 1, then the Boston Post Road. Another was the Norwalk to Danbury Pike, now Route 7. 4 toll gates were erected in Greenwich, Stamford, the Saugatuck River Bridge, and in Fairfield. No tolls were collected for those going to church, military muster, or farmers heading to the mills. Everyone else paid 15 cents at each toll barrier. The locals quickly found roads to bypass the tolls, and they were nicknamed shun pikes. The last tolls on those roads were collected in 1854, shortly after the New York and New Haven Railroad started service. An 1850 timetable from the railroad showed 3 trains a day from Darien to New York City, each averaging 2 hours and 10 minutes. Today, Metro-North makes that run in just under an hour. The one-way fare back then was 70 cents. Adjusted for inflation today, that would be over $20 versus today's rush hour fare of $14.50. In the 1890s, the one-track railroad was replaced with 4 tracks, above grade and eliminating street crossings. In the 1890s, the trolleys arrived. The Stamford Street Railroad ran up the Post Road, connecting in downtown Darien with the Norwalk Tramway, which rattled along Railroad Avenue, now known as Tokenique Road. And that railroad also offered open-air excursion cars to the Roten Point Amusement Park in the summer. Riders could catch a trolley every 40 minutes for a nickel a ride. There were so many trolley lines in the state that it was said you could go all the way from New York to Boston, connecting from line to line for just 5 cents a ride. Trolleys, as you probably know, were replaced by buses in 1933. Fast forward to the present, and here we are again debating tolls on our roads and possible trolley service in Stamford. Have things really changed that much over the past 200 years? I'm Jim Cameron for Talking Transportation.
Thanks as always to Jim Cameron. That was an interesting look back on transportation in the state of Connecticut. But now it's time to throw it back over to Rob for one final look at the forecast. Rob?
All right, Kate, thank you. A sunny day today, high near 55. Tonight, partly cloudy and a low 35. Thursday, sunny, high 58. To Thursday night, a clear night and a low around 34, but oh, it's getting good for the weekend because this is what I try to do for you. Friday, sunny and 61, 63 and sunny for Saturday, and Sunday, because you've all been so nice, sunny and 70 because AJ Simonowski asked for it. Monday, sunny and 73, and Tuesday, just for Kate, partly sunny and 64. So looking good around the region. Right now we have temperatures sitting at 51 in Westport. Stamford, you've climbed up to 48, and here in Shelton we stay steady at 49 degrees. I'll see you for Nutmeg at 2 and baseball at 4, Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. Well, we're going to start wrapping things up here on your coffee break, but as Rob said, we still have a busy day coming up. CT Pulse at 12:30 today. We're talking presidential primaries and why Connecticut's playing an important role this time around. Of course, Nutmeg Sports at 2 and baseball at 4. We'll see you tomorrow at 11.